Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I'm really excited for you to get to know Christian a little bit better. Um, when I remember when I looked at Christian's LinkedIn profile, I was like, wow, this guy has been working as a developer for a few years. He's been clearly, he knew stuff, right? And I'm not surprised he got this amazing job he got. And then we talked to Christian and realized, well, he crafted his LinkedIn profile really, really well. But the story behind the LinkedIn profile is so much more interesting and rich, and it's not a straight line, right? And I really want Christian for you to share that story with the world, because I think that everyone will want to hear how success stories are never a straight line, and I think it's good to understand that. But just to give context to everyone, Christian joined Microverse in 2021. I think it was July, right? July 2020, June 2020. Christian finished this year, earlier this year. All
I
good?
think it was July 6th. I
July
wanted to
6th.
join June 22, but there were no more spots. I received an email and then I was moved to July 6th or something.
July 6th of 2020, so last year. And then you completed the program in like 7 months, I think.
I finished all the main modules in 5 months. Then
5
I
months.
started the interview prep, and after the interview prep, it's 2 weeks, and I got the job.
You got a job in 2 weeks. Okay, we're gonna talk about how you made that happen. So Christian has landed a dream job, working remotely as a software engineer for a really cool Romanian company, Assist, and we'll be talking more about that. So today we're gonna be talking about Christian's journey, which is super interesting. So I'll let Christian do most of the talking, but I'll start with a question, which is Christian, did you always want to be a software developer? Has that been a dream in your life?
So I never knew what a software developer is until 6 years ago. And in college, we had the info hours, but we were playing games. I never had this attraction, like want to be a software developer or something. And it's only about 6 years ago, after I worked like totally different jobs. I was in Italy at my parents and I coded my first HTML hello world. And I was like, wow, I can really do this. I can write in the notepad and then I can see a result. I was like very impressed. And since then I started programming, but also I was scared. I was thinking most of the time that I will never be a developer. I think I had the imposter syndrome at the beginning. This was the reason. I never planned to be a developer. This is my answer.
You never planned. So at which point in your career did you decide that you wanted to be a developer? What was the journey until you joined Microverse?
So I started to learn programming as a hobby. I was still working in Romania or in the UK. I had different jobs. I had the passion, I had the desire, I wanted to be a developer, but I didn't see how I could make the change, that career switch. So I realized this is possible when the COVID started, when the COVID situation started. Until then, I didn't see any chance for me to be a developer.
How did COVID help you with this? I'm very curious.
Yeah. So I was the CEO of my own recruiting agency together with my wife. Things were going very well. We had lots of plans. In the back of my mind, I still wanted to be a developer, but seeing that I have my own company and everything is going well, I started not to believe in that dream anymore. And then when the COVID started, all the cruise ships got blocked. They got stuck. I remember the first thing I searched, it was for a developer course. And I remember I find Microverse. And I thought they were not taking Europeans, or they didn't have any European time zone courses. So I was upset and I was thinking, this is not for me. And then I started searching for a job. After 3 months, I got a job at Amazon as a client service operator in Italian. I accepted the job. It was like 500 euros per month or something like that. They were about to send me the devices. And then I felt like maybe this is not for me, because maybe I can do something else with this time when the COVID situation. So I searched for Microverse again, and then you added a time zone for Europeans. And I applied, I was accepted, and I'm here now.
Wow. So COVID truly helped you, right? Like it made your business stop, it stopped making sense to operate the business. So you had to find something different to do. And you
Yeah,
ended up rejecting a job that paid,
yeah,
a stable salary to do this.
yeah. Of
Interesting.
course, I
What?
discussed with my wife, we put it in a balance and we decided if the COVID will be for 1 year, I can have this job, it can be stable. But if I do the course at Microverse, it adds a lot of more value. And it really happened. Like, yeah. Now in
Good.
a couple of months, I earn everything that I would earn at working at Amazon, something like that.
That's good. We can talk more about this later, but is there a big difference in salary between a job like the one you got at Amazon and what you can make today as a developer?
Yeah, it's a multiple times, let's say.
Okay, good to know that. It's such an interesting space, right? Like being a developer is not easy. It takes a lot of work to become one, takes work to get the job, but salaries are really good all around the world, and I'm
Yeah.
not surprised about it. But very curious, like to hear why micros? Why not other options?
Well, I was searching for an option and of course, it helped me a lot that I have to pay after I finish the course. I think
Mhm.
this was one of the main reasons.
Sense.
And you can work remotely, so I can be home with my family, with my wife. And I think these were the main reasons. And I also love the presentation, how you present all the things and the course and the modules and everything. It was amazing.
Cool.
And from the initial step when I first applied, like I think you used Intervify or something like that. No?
Hireflix, probably.
Firefox.
Yeah.
I was really impressed. Like I'm talking with people, recordings, I'm answering questions, everything is so organized. And I was like, wow. Yeah.
It's some people, they feel like, oh, I wish I could talk to a person, in person. But you're an interesting case because you actually found that
Yeah.
interesting, the fact that we have everything organized to work asynchronously, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also understood the process. You have to talk with thousands and thousands of people. When you gonna do that if you don't have these tools? Yeah.
Yeah, we get, I think lately like 7,000 to 8,000 people who apply to join every month, and of course, the closer you get to becoming a student, the more like we do the acceptance call. We try to spend a lot of time, but uh, in general, like when one of the best practices of remote companies is that you try to do as much work as possible asynchronously, right? So
Yeah.
that you don't need to decide where in the calendar you're going to find a time to meet to make a decision. So for us, like the initial interviews, making sure that we can do them asynchronously, it's important. But at the same time, doing them through text, we will miss all the context of seeing you talking and you seeing our team talking to you.
Yeah.
So it's a recorded interview, but you get to put a face to a name, and I think that's it's I guess the best of both worlds. So you started microverse in the middle of last year in 2020. Um, what was like the most important thing you think you got out of microverse? What was like the most important lesson you learned?
I think I learned the potential that I have. Yeah, I think this is what I saw. I met a lot of people and I saw that I can learn anything basically. Because the way microverse is structured is like you have to learn. It's not somebody teaching you, and then when you go and find a job, who do you call? Like your teacher, hey, I need help here. You don't have to call anybody. So you get very well with your Google skills, with reading documentation, with fixing bugs, with reading bugs, and it literally prepares you for being a developer. And I think this is the most value I got. Now working at C Software, things are very close, like what I was doing at Microverse with what I am doing at my current job.
That's really good. What's something that is different?
I don't have a stand-up team. Usually
Okay.
you have only your colleagues, and it's even more flexible. We don't have, so at Microverse we had so many things where you are trying to control what the students are doing and they stay in the line.
Yeah.
Here it's based more on trust. This is what I feel.
Are
And on
you
results. Yeah.
on results? That makes a lot of sense. Are you doing any like agile methodologies like sprint planning and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
We have like Redmine, Scrum, Confluence, Jira. We are doing all of them
No,
depending on the
no.
project.
The whole
But
thing.
the
Okay.
best part is if you learn one, you know all of them. So
Yeah. Yeah. Are
before
you?
knowing what agile development means, I was so scared. I don't know agile development. I was even planning to send Microverse an email. Hey, you should insert agile development. Everybody's talking about this. Why are you not putting in the program? But it's just an application to structure your work. And once you learn one application, you know all of them. And it's nothing very hard to learn.
Yeah, it's about the mentality. Like in the past, like 20 years ago, when you built software, you used to spend 6 months just planning all the development, like no coding yet, just like capturing requirements and discussing everything. And then you spend 6 months just coding, and then you launch the project, and then you realize that everything you thought you knew is no longer true, because it's been a year and a lot has changed. Then with Agile, it's not about the tools. The tools, as you said, you learn one, you learn all of them. It's about thinking that it doesn't make sense to spend 6 months building something. Build something smaller, launch it, learn from that, and then iterate on that. By improving it, you launch it, learn more, improve it, and you keep doing that. And I think we don't teach that yet explicitly in the program, but it's implicit in the sense that that's how you work every day. So working differently than that probably wouldn't make sense to anyone once you join a job. So yeah, did you feel like imposter syndrome at some point in the program?
In Microverse, I didn't feel imposter syndrome.
That's good.
I think the past experience helped me because I did some courses, some tutorial, and this helped me a lot. But I do understand the people that have the imposter syndrome, and I always try to help them. I always tell them we are all weak, we all make mistakes, we all fail every day, not only one time per day, multiple times per day, and you're gonna make it. We all gonna make it. You just have to put passion and just try to learn something from your mistakes.
That's an important lesson, right? It's not about, like, I think feeling imposter syndrome, it's normal for most people, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like what you do with that, and if it paralyzes you, then it stops you from doing what you want to be doing. And I think what you're saying makes so much sense. Like, it's like we're all failing all the time. So, like, why worrying about failing if it's gonna happen anyways? Just like try to learn something from failure.
And if we think about it, when the imposter syndrome appears, when we cannot control everything, and we are obsessed with controlling, I should know that, I should know how to do that. And then these feelings create you the impression that you cannot do it, and you are an imposter there.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
it was even easier because I became a Christian 2 years ago, and I believe in God. And usually I pray, even almost every day, I pray before starting work. Please help me, God, if to do my job today. And I don't believe in myself anymore that I need to control everything. So I believe in God, He's in control. I'm just doing my job, my part here. So I don't have the imposter syndrome.
What does it mean to do your part to you?
I put passion in what I do. Yeah.
That's an important thing. Great to hear that. By the way, I want to remind everyone, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A section. We'll talk more about like the interview process and the process of getting the job right now. But if you have any questions, go to the Q&A, put it there, and I want to keep an eye on the questions in case we can start answering some of them. So let's talk about the process of getting a job. I know most people are like, wait, but how did Christian get the job? So let's do it. How was the process of applying to jobs?
So Microverse does very well to provide tools for organizing your applications. So I think it's Hunter, the name.
Mm-hmm.
So initially I started with the GitHub repo. It's a GitHub repo with remote jobs. And I just started taking all the URLs from there. That was slowing me a lot because you have like for every URL, they are not big companies. They are companies having like 10, 15 employees. And you have to answer like 20 questions, like, I don't know, all kinds of questions and letters. And I was wasting like 2 hours for an application. And most of the time they just reply, we don't have any openings now, we will call you later. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. That is good because you need to apply. And then I saw LinkedIn Easy Jobs and I started applying there. I saw C Software. It was not written that they have a remote job. It's a job in Suceava, which is like 9 hours driving from here. But I still send the application. I was thinking, if I get an interview, I'll get some experience. I will see how it goes, and I will learn something from it. I did the interview with two ladies from the HR, and at the end of the interview, I told them, I just want to ask because I'm not ready to move from my city, and they told me, no, this is a remote job, and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Are they remote because of COVID, or they're remote regardless of COVID?
I think they are remote because the company is growing a lot, and
Okay.
it's a big demand of projects and developers. So I think they opted for this solution as well, like to hire remote.
Maybe people want to hear more about, like, what does Assist do?
Assist is a IT company. It has around 230 employees. Yeah, and it's a corporation, we can call it. Like they have big offices in Suceava. I'm planning to go there and visit. And it's a flat company, so we treat everybody like colleagues. We don't have supervisors or bosses. And I didn't think this exists in Romania, honestly, when I started searching for jobs. Usually when I see jobs with ads like this, we are the best, we will treat you like our friend. And usually I tend to not to believe them because, everybody wants to make the job look amazing. But these jobs really exist and they are amazing. It's great to work for such a company.
That's really good to hear. We always talk about how human talent is universal, right? What's not universal is the opportunities in life. And that's something for us at Microverse. Our mission is to make sure that no matter where you come from, you have, international, very ambitious opportunities in life. And the same thing happens with companies, right? And I think it's important for people to understand this. It's not about getting an international job or not even about a remote job. Like I always talk about Kevin, who got a job at Microsoft in Kenya, but it's in the Kenya office. It doesn't have to be remote or international. It's for a company where he's going to be learning a lot. And there, in the same way that there is universal talent everywhere in the world, there are universal high quality opportunities everywhere. But it's important to not compromise. Every country has companies that are doing really good things, really interesting projects, and working in a really cool way. Even if it's in your country, if you can find those kind of companies, you end up learning a lot, and you end up also, making a good salary. So like identifying those companies is important. It's not the only option. We are seeing most of our graduates working internationally, but I think that you're a good example of how you can find some really good, success locally or internationally. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you got to the interview with the HR department. They tell you that you didn't have to relocate because the job was remote. What happened after that?
I had 3 more interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was appointed for a technical interview with the head of department, the front end head of department, which went very well. Then I had another take-home project. Then another English assessment interview. And then another HackerRank interview with around, I think, 50 questions.
Wow.
And those questions were from TypeScript, from things that we don't learn at Microverse. And I was scared. I don't know these things, how I'm going to learn them. But usually when I want to learn a new language, I just watch a crash course. Usually a crash course will take 1 hour. Then you read a little documentation and you can talk to somebody about that language. And I did the same. I watched crash courses for the things I didn't know, and the test went very well.
It clearly went well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about each one of the interviews. I think it's an interesting process. What was the first technical interview like? What did they ask you? Which kind of questions?
It was a friendly talk with the head of department, and he asked me about my first project that I built, which was a bidding website built in PHP. And I was struggling to remember how I did it. There were questions. So how did you do that? How did you do that? But I managed to explain him and the thought process that I took the app, and everything went very well. And I was very honest with things I don't know or with mistakes I did. And I think that's the good part as well, because I was honest.
So you were talking about some of the projects you built before Microverse, right?
Yes, exactly.
Did it make any difference going through Microverse for that interview?
A lot.
In
So
which
the interview prep, I think it helped me a lot, especially at the first interview, at the behavioral interview. most of the questions I already prepared at Microverse.
Cool.
So it's like somebody asks you questions that you like prepared in the past, which is much easier.
Yeah. Any example?
What is your greatest weakness? And this question, when I was preparing at Microverse, I had a very bad answer. And my Crystal told me that, yeah, Crystal, yeah, told me not to use this answer because it's not very good. And then I searched and prepared another answer. Of course, honest about me, not just code. Yeah.
Yeah, good to hear that. And then you did a take-home assignment. What was it?
It was a small project. Maybe it's better if I don't tell it because maybe somebody else will apply at assistant. They will know.
Okay, you don't want to spoil the interview for us.
Yeah.
Makes sense, but you had to build something, right? Like
Yeah.
from scratch. Cool, good to know. And then you had an English test interview, which is interesting. The company is Romanian, but do you work in English?
No, but we work with United States clients mostly. And we talk with the clients, we have regular meetings, and English is a very important aspect regarding this.
Makes sense. That is, by the way, something really important. If anyone ends up working in a local job, it's really important that you find a company where either with your colleagues or with your clients, you will be talking a lot in English, because investing in your English level is probably one of the most important investments you can make towards your future. So I'm glad you got that opportunity, Christian. I mean, I'm sure that if you someday go and work for another company, that skill, being able to work with clients in English, will be super important.
Yeah.
Cool, perfect.
And the English test was like, I think I had like a 15-20 minutes chat with the English teacher, and then a small assessment, like to write a couple of sentences about, something like that.
Cool. Did your English improve from before Microverse and after Microverse? Like you're really fluent right now.
Well, I used to work on ocean cruise liners and river cruise liners where you speak only English.
Yeah.
And I met American guests. Then I went to UK. When I heard people speaking in UK, I didn't understand them very well at the beginning because of the accent. So I know to understand a couple of accents in English. I had the opportunity to meet different people.
Did you ever have any challenge dealing not with the accent but with the different cultures that you were seeing in those, like, cruises you were working at?
Yeah. But I took that as an advantage. You can meet so many people, so many cultures, and from all around the world. It's amazing.
We in the acceptance call on when you get accepted to Microverse, and I'm sure a lot of the people watching are Microverse students, so it's not news for you, but for other people it might be news. We talk about how if you have had a job as a developer before Microverse, it will obviously make a difference, statistically speaking, your salary, your opportunities. Even if you have never worked before at all, you will still get a job. It's just statistically speaking, your salary might be lower. And then in cases like you, Christian, where, for example, working at a cruise, right? Like people will think, well, what does it have to do with being a developer? Well, it has to be with being a professional, right? And to be a great developer, you need to be a great professional. And especially working with, US clients, if you can't speak fluently in English, if you don't know how to work with people, in an online setting or like in any setting, but where there are cultural differences, like those are superpowers to you. And when I looked at your LinkedIn profile and I saw that you kept the all the cruise company jobs, I was like, that is excellent. And I remember like you wrote it as I got experience working with people very from different cultures. I was like, yes, a good hiring manager for a software engineering position will see that and will say, this guy will be working for clients in the US. That experience in the cruise company will be useful. So let me ask you, was it useful for this?
It was, I think God prepared me for this. This is what I think. Because I work for Carnival Cruise Lines, I work for big company in UK for Accor hotels. And I also have trainings about teamwork, soft skills, all the things that you need to be a good developer, like how to speak with your colleagues, how to speak with the client, and all these communication skills and trainings. And this helped me a lot, improve me as a person in general. Yeah.
you clearly have a growth mindset, right? So like you're not trying to control everything, but you're embracing and appreciating every opportunity to learn, to grow, and that's rare. And we always talk about in this Lunch and Learns how we end up talking to people that everyone has something unique, something a unique capacity, and I think it's in your side. It's clearly, being open to whatever happens in life, and getting something good, right? And for everyone listening, every challenge is an opportunity, right? And I think Kristen, you're showing that really well.
And kind of thinking about this, I think I never planned when I was young, I want to be a doctor when I will be big or something. I never had a plan prepared or something. I remember I was in college and I was almost, I was in the university, I was almost finishing university, but it was economical science or something like that. And I didn't know what job can I get with this university. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to work. But after 1 year, I got a job as economist and I just took it. I'm just going to work as an economist. And I did my best there. I was doing a great job. Then I met my wife and the economy salary was not very big in Romania. So we found the opportunity to work on ocean cruise liners. So we buy the ticket to Miami and we went to the United States, started working as waiters. Yeah.
Did you travel to many places?
Yeah, I saw San Francisco, Miami, Ensenada, Mexico, LA, Los Angeles. So I saw lots of places in the United States.
Did you go to other parts of the world with the cruises as well? Or it was mostly in the US.
It was mostly there. It was mostly there. And then I started working on river ships. And here I saw all the Europe, Amsterdam, Munich, Frankfurt, Köln, Düsseldorf, all these cities, Budapest. So in every day I was in a different city on the river ships.
And you were doing that with your wife?
Yes, yes.
That's super interesting. How is that? How do you, well, there's going to be a pun intended here. How do you navigate that?
Well, it was hard sometimes because you are staying with your wife from 7 a.m. till 12 p.m. Sometimes it's hard, but we realized that this is a blessing for us, and it's amazing to be that it's possible for me to work with my wife, and I don't have to go in the other corner of the city, and she goes in the other corner of the city, and we see ourselves only 2-3 hours when we come from work.
Yeah. That's changing now, I guess, right? Like with you becoming a developer, and is she still doing all like the cruises stuff?
Yeah, the cruises are starting now, so she's gonna take care. But we're gonna be in the same office, like 2 different offices. This is the plan.
Because now you have the hiring company for the cruises. You are not in the cruises anymore yourself, right? Or like she's not. Yeah, that's cool. So you're both gonna be working from home long term.
Yeah, we discussed about this. We realized that I really like this job, it's my passion, and she really wants me to continue here. So if I have her her acceptance, that's perfect.
It's so important. Like, and that's something else we always talk about in the admissions process, like getting the support from your family, whoever is around you with this transition. It's so important. Like, it's such a hard change. It requires so much work, so much focus and long-term commitment that if people around you are like, doubting what you're doing every day, it's really going to be really hard. Like it's good to hear you had that important support from your wife. Like it will be really hard otherwise. So going back to like your LinkedIn profile, like I remember seeing you have been working for a few years as a freelance developer. And I think you told us, that were like some smaller projects. Like, how does the kind of work you were doing back then with those freelance projects compare to the kind of job you are doing today as a full-time developer?
Well, when I came back from the river ships, I finished with the river ships. Then I started programming as a hobby, and I was doing Code Academy, Free Code Camp, watching tutorials. It was very hard. I felt lost. I felt like I don't have a guidance, a mentor, or somebody to tell me, "Hey, go this way." So I was learning JavaScript. Then I see a tutorial, somebody saying PHP is the best, most used language. I start learning PHP. And then I heard about Laravel. I started learning Laravel. And it was very hard at that point. Then I went to UK to work, in Romania. I was afraid to apply for jobs. And my wife started applying for me for freelance projects. She was always telling me, why don't you apply for jobs? Maybe you'll get a project, maybe you make something. You do this and you like it, why you don't do it? And I was saying, I'm not prepared, I'm not prepared. So she started applying for jobs on online websites. And one client called me from Constanța, and I built the first website. The website that at the interview at Assist asked me about. So that was my first website. And from there, that person also became my mentor. He had a server in Bucharest, so he had multiple websites, and that helped me a lot. Like I could ask him questions and advices from time to time. But I was still not ready to apply for jobs. I was scared. So I went in the UK to work as a waiter as well, while also continuously learning and building side projects. So a few hours per day, sometimes I didn't have time for a week or two. I was just struggling. Yeah. And then my father-in-law asked me to build a website for our recruiting agency because he started recruiting people while I was in UK. I built a website for the recruiting agency, and then companies started calling us and we got some contracts with companies. And after 2 years in UK, we came back to Romania and started the recruiting agency.
Was the kind of development you were doing for, for these websites like very different to the kind of development you're doing today?
Yes, it was. I mean, I think I was not ready to build websites, or I don't know. I didn't have a plan. I was changing my mind all the time. And I think this is the bad part when you are a freelancer or when you are a self-taught developer. You are alone and you change your mind very often. You don't have an agile development or anything. But still, I was finishing the projects and I was learning very fast, and I was seeing results in this. And I think after like 1-2 years, I realized, hey, I can build anything. If I just put the time and passion on it, you just tell me something and I can build it. And I think this is the motivation that helped me went forward.
Good to hear that. And you also mentioned that the kind of salary that you can get through other kind of jobs, like like this job at Amazon you got offer, and how much you can make as a developer, like it's much more. Has it made any difference in your life in the the stuff that you can do, or I guess your how you live in general?
Yeah, it helps a lot. It gives you some peace that you can go slowly and you can focus on your work and do your job. And you have a future, so you can build a career. So I feel it's something very important. Is when you get the job and you start working, everything changes. I could say that.
And you're just at the beginning of that journey, right? That there's still so much space to continue improving and learning, and of course getting better salaries. So that's a good thing about a career like software engineering, is that the career journey is built there. So at any company that is a decent company, you will get a lot of opportunities to continue growing all the time. What is something you have done at the job to grow maybe beyond the expectations of what the job requires? Like, are you doing anything proactively to get you ready for next steps, even though the client might not need that yet?
I'm always proactive, and I always try to go that extra mile and do more that I'm asked for.
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to deliver before time. And clients really appreciate that. And they told me a couple of times that they're really impressed and they like how I work and I put passion. And usually if I'm getting blocked by something or I don't have an answer at the question, I try to improvise and find a solution and then present the solution to the client and then ask, did you want it this way or do you want me to change?
Yeah.
Because usually sometimes developers, they just don't do it and they just wait. I wait 2 days to ask a question,
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that I'm always trying to help with other projects as well. So until now, I work like in 3 projects, and I'm still helping the people from the previous projects every time they need help.
Oh, cool. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of the questions that people are asking. So this one is, I have 2 years of experience working with JavaScript. I have worked with React this year. I'm thinking of taking a data structures and algorithms course before I start my course. Is that a good idea or not? What do you think, Christian?
It depends. If a data structures and algorithm course takes 6 months, don't do it. You waste 6 precious months. Find the solution, get inside Microverse fast. Just search for the fastest solution.
And
And
we cover like algorithms and data structures in the program. So yeah, it's really going to be faster.
so you just need to know enough to enter Microverse. And I think they have a pre-course work, no, where they can learn.
Yeah. We have the pre-course work, and this person like has already 2 years of some years of experience on JavaScript. Like they should be able to like join. And I mean, the question I think is also like whether Microverse makes sense to everyone or not. I don't think it makes sense to everyone. If you already have several years of experience and some experience working for a company professionally, maybe you don't need Microverse, right? And that's fine. Maybe you do want to do more than algorithms and data structures. Maybe do some interview practice so that you get to see how the questions about data structure and algorithms are used in the context of a job interview, and probably doing some of the interview preparation. I think that's going to be the most impactful thing, but you don't need to go through all Microverse for that, I guess.
Or if you need to improve your soft skills, because Microverse helps a lot with this. You have a stand-up team, you have colleagues that change almost every week, and you learn lots of things. I think this is a big advantage of pair programming. I learned lots and lots of things just by watching somebody coding, and I just take his shortcut. I see, hey, this guy is doing this thing faster than me. So I start using it as well, and he learns something from me, and you improve a lot during the course.
Do you remember any time where working with a coding partner was actually a challenge? It was like, and I know in you, I know that a challenge is an opportunity for you. It's like, what was a moment that was hard, but that you got something out of that?
I had one colleague, he had like 3 kids, and he had to take care of them while working. So it was lots of noise, and he also had the internet problems. So and his PC was low from what I remember. But I was thinking, this is how God learns me how to be patient and how to accept, because this can happen at every job, no? And you need to learn this skill. And you can learn it only this way, by just coding with somebody and being patient and waiting. Yeah.
Absolutely. There is no tutorial or book that will teach you how to handle those feelings of like, I need to get this done. I want to get a job. I have limited time, and here I am, needing to understand the realities of a parent of 3 kids, and that takes a lot of empathy to do that, and that's impressive.
And I was putting me in his shoes. I was thinking, this guy really wants to be a developer. He has 3 kids, but he's struggling. I was like, how can I code with 3 kids around me? I was like, I cannot do that. How is this guy doing it?
Yeah.
So I was like, wow.
So, by the way, someone was asking if they can register to the webinar because they're at work, they can, fully pay attention. It's a recording, so we'll be publishing this later. We'll probably share it on social media as well as on, like Twitter and Instagram. So yes, we are recording, so you should be able to watch it later, okay? John is asking, thanks, saying, thank you for the lessons. Can anyone have access to the video tutorials for web development? I really need them. I'm not really sure, John, what do you mean? We actually let me ask you, Christian, like, are there like video tutorials for web development at Microverse? Is that what Microverse does?
No, we don't have video tutorials. We have like modules, and for every module you have combined together like documentation with excellent articles with some videos, but it's not like you watch 20-hour videos and build an app and that's it. You basically have to build your app by yourself. So you read the documentation, you maybe build a small app being helped, and then you have to build something totally different from scratch. And somebody will review your code. So I don't think we have any video tutorials that you can watch and then you know how to program. And it's not possible.
Yeah, and I think, you mentioned something before, which is that one of the most important things of Microverse is like learning the soft skills of working with other people, right? And no matter how much you watch videos or read tutorials, you can't get that from those kind of materials. You need to go through the experience, and that is something that is impossible to do if you're learning alone. So for people who actually are missing that part, even if they have some previous experience coding, that is something that, it's very unique. And it's also unique at Micros in the sense that we do that in a very international setting. Like most schools, you will get to interact with other students, but most likely you're going to be from your same city, right? Your same, country. At Micros, we have students in 118 countries, and you get to interact with people from all these places. And that is something that is hard to replicate. And I think for many people, they don't understand how different every culture is. And unless you get to experience how those differences, how to deal with those differences, then if you want to work international in a job, you're going to have to learn that at the job, which, it's going to get you fired much more faster. So.
For example, at my stand-up team, I had one person from Germany, one person from Turkey, one person from Pakistan, one person from Nigeria.
Wow.
All these countries, like you see the people every day and you talk with them and you ask questions and you understand their culture. And amazing.
That's cool. Are you still in touch with them?
Of course. We also created a WhatsApp channel, and from time to time we talk there.
Nice to hear that. I think that's another element that is really important, like networking and connections, right? Like all of you are graduating from Microverse, are getting jobs in different companies, and your company is probably hiring more people, and the other company will be hiring eventually, and then all of you will eventually move to like senior level positions, and you're gonna be the ones who start hiring new people. So like building those connections early on internationally at Microverse can help you in the future to get to those kind of jobs. So it's good that you're keeping in touch with them, I think.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, so I'm sure some of them will watch.
Yeah,
Okay, Alicia is asking, what is your advice to people who have a degree in computer science but no experience, no professional experience? How can they enter the job market since most of the jobs require work experience? What do you think? How do we deal with the fact that a lot of jobs require job experience?
So you can try to find a company that hires you based on your degree. There could be in your city, maybe a local company that just hire people who just finished university. Otherwise, you need to go and build some projects somehow. You have a live project or something to showcase. I think this is the aspect that helped me to land the job. I had two deployed projects online that people can go and see the domain. And this helped me a lot to get the job. Because if you don't have anything to show, they don't know for what to interview. Like, they need to have some projects for which they should ask you some questions. And then they will see your thought process and how do you think and how you tackle challenges.
And I always we always talk about how many of the projects you build at Microverse have that real world relevance, meaning that they are something you can put in your portfolio and they will look like you have some experience, right? And of course, you're definitely not lying there. That's not the point. The point is like you give them enough information for them to believe that you're not just fresh out of college. You actually have built stuff, right? And you have worked with developers in other parts of the world. You have built stuff together, large projects, and then that is enough for them to want to talk to you, right? And it's just with the recruiter, maybe the screening, and then in the screening call, you have prepared the behavioral questions like you did, and then you impress them, and because you show them that you speak really well, you have a high level of empathy, that you're a good professional, and they're like, well, this person, yeah, we just found out that he actually doesn't have that much experience, but he does have some experience and he's built stuff and he's a really, professional person. Like, we should move him to the next interview. And now you have a take-home assignment or a technical interview. And now, because you have been coding for a year, you can show them you can code even though you don't have a previous job. And they're like, well, we don't need them to have a job. Well, we need them to be able to code, and they can code. So like, okay, you're hired, right? So it's one step at a time, and having a computer science degree should help you, right? That it won't hurt you, but you need to find a way to get your first, step into the company so that they give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then find a way to impress them, to differentiate yourself and show them that you're a great professional and that you can code, right? And you don't need every company to tell you yes. You just need one company to offer you a good job. That's it. So take every rejection as one step that you're getting closer to the yes.
And don't think about a project built in 1 year or, I don't know, 6 months.
Oh,
just
definitely.
think about the small projects that you can build and you can showcase your skills.
Absolutely.
For example, at Microverse, we built that phaser library game, which I think it's an awesome project to have in your portfolio.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we built that project in 5 days. So it's amazing.
yeah.
No?
A lot of pressure also with that project
Yeah.
in 5 days, I know, but that's part of the job very often, and it shows you how much you can get done when you really focus into something. So next question. Hey, Christian, how did you deal with the algorithms and data structure curriculum? I didn't join Microverse from a technical background, though. I was a self-taught mostly from FreeCodeCamp, and my major challenges are currently solving algorithms. Are there major challenges that I just recently got a complete course on the topic? I'm currently in the React module. Thank you. How do you help people like deal with that?
I have some rules when I do a coding challenge. Usually I try for 30 minutes maximum. If I see I don't find the solution, I check the response. And I just check it slowly, how can I solve it? Then I start solving it myself from scratch. And this way you keep something in your mind, with some steps that you have to take. And sometimes even after 1 week, I try to do the same coding challenge again without seeing the response. And most of the time I fail. After 1 week, I don't know how to do it again. So I watch again the response and then I watch again. So they are very hard. Coding challenges are very hard. And this is the way you check the response, and then you kind of make your brain understand how you should fix the problem. And there are so many types of problems. You need to learn only a few types, a few solutions, and then you can use those solutions in all the coding challenges.
That makes total sense. Like repetition is key, and there in the core program there is not a lot of repetition. Just do your, I guess you have to do the coding challenge just once, I guess, in theory. But then once you start preparing for the interviews, you start repeating and you start like reapplying a lot of the concepts to specific challenges, and then you get to have a lot of repetition. So even if you get to see the solution and you try again with a solution, you can then repeat it while you're applying to jobs. You should continue practicing all the time. So repetition is the key there. I agree with you, Kristen.
And Microverse algorithms and data structures is very hard. And you are right. It's a very hard curriculum.
It's hard?
It was hard for me. But again, you need to remind yourself, I'm weak, I fail, I don't know how to solve it. I'm just going to watch the response, and then I'm going to try to make my brain understand it.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason for spending 5 hours trying to solve a coding challenge. I feel like I wasted those 5 hours when I could do something else. Because it's too much. Your brain collapses after 5 hours.
Yeah, very frustrating. So another question is, what does your company do exactly?
So my company does everything that belongs to the IT. It does outsourcing. So like big companies in the United States, they build a big complex app and they hire like a part of their development team from Assist and Q&As and anything they need, Assist mostly provides for them. Then they also do research and development. And research and development, from my understanding, means when you go in a big corporation and you find a solution to optimize their workflow and stuff, and just to decrease their expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also build their own projects. We build our own projects. Like we have a game, Ruby and Atlas, the Ruby Atlas. It's a game in the Play Store.
Cool.
So literally everything that regards IT.
Perfect.
I also check their project list. They build a medical hardware used for some kind of diseases and stuff like that.
So it's not just software, it's also like some hardware as well.
Some hardware as well.
Interesting. So Chris is asking, most companies want experience upwards of 2 years. How many years of experience did they require for the job you got?
I think they had the same. I don't remember exactly. They were saying like 2, 5 years or something like that. Yeah.
Did you have 2 years of experience?
Well, on my CV, yes. And I was programming for 6 years. Like I counted that as the experience. I had 2 websites built, and the people at Microverse helped me showcase my skills. And I could answer the technical questions, and they saw I have the knowledge, because this is the most important.
Makes sense. James Odufu says, hi, Christian, my friend, nice to see you again. How do you deal with the challenges on your new job? For instance, on a good day, you're unable to implement a feature on an ongoing solo project. What do you do?
Well, sometimes you start your PC and you do an npm start and it doesn't work. Like last night it was working, now it's not working. What is happening? the same thing. If you have a problem, I'm honest. I tell to that person, hey, I tried the solution for the last 3 hours. I could not find the solution. Can you help me? I tried this and this, and I was thinking maybe this could be the solution. Like, you need to show to your colleagues and that you are trying, and then they will help you. There's no problem if you are failing. And oh, we are all failing. Yeah, remember, we are all failing, James. We just need to show, to tell somebody, hey, I'm failing here. Please help me. Maybe you will not fail.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think being humble enough to ask for help, it's hard, but it's so important. And but you also said, but you need to show that you did your side, that you tried, that it's not like you're just being lazy. So yeah, great. And then Busi was asking, will you say microverse help you to learn how to work on projects solo as well as within a team?
It helped me work on all types of projects, in solo, in a team, all of them. It was amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
something I'm really excited about with Microverse 2.0 that we launched 2 weeks ago. Now we have solo projects, we have pair programming projects, but now we also have group projects. So you start doing a project with one more person, but you divide the work and then you combine it. And then on the second model and third model, you start doing it with 3 people, and then with 4 people, and then at the end you do it with 5 people. So by the time you finish, it looks much closer to the kind of project you will build in a company. Really excited to start showing that to the world. So, and this is important also for the next question from Alicia as well. It's like, what is the average length of the microverse curriculum for a potential software developer? I'm going to answer this one because we just launched 2 weeks ago on May the 31st, what we call Microverse 2.0, 2.0, which is a completely new version of how people learn at Microverse. We're still doing, project-based learning. There is still mastery-based learning. You're still learning collaboratively with students from all around the world. That's all the same. But the program now has a fixed length of 29 weeks. There are options to repeat certain weeks, so it can take a few weeks longer, but it's much easier to now know exactly how long it's going to take you, and it's around 29 weeks, which is 7 months. So it's 7 months for you to finish, plus 3 months on average for you to get a job. Okay, John is asking, John, I think you're asking, how can I access the modules? All the micro is not about the content, right? It's about building stuff with your team members, and you get access to that if you get accepted into the school. We don't have anything like publicly available because you wouldn't be able to go through it because you need your coding partners and your stand-up team and all of that within the school.
And if I can complete here, even
Please.
if you have all the modules and all the courses, if you don't have the pressure in the 8 hours per day to do projects and pass the modules, you will most probably fail, because you will work for 2 hours, you have the modules, then you go do something else. And I think this is the most important thing at Microverse. You talk with your family, you tell them, hey, for 8 hours per day, I will be a developer. I have a colleague, I need to program with him, and then you'll get the time and you really work. Like, you feel like it's a real workplace.
Cool. We have a little time left, so I'm going to focus maybe on a few different questions. Okay, this is an interesting one from Sarwar. Do you think it's better to focus on project completion within the timeline, or better understanding them regardless of the time it requires? Because I believe projects are really important to showcase.
In my opinion, it's important for you to understand what is happening in the language or framework or in that project, even if you don't know it all in small details and you don't remember all the documentation, like what is every keyword and everything. You just need to have a basic understanding of what React is, of what Rails is. That with Rails, you have some generators to create some modules. You have some controllers. And then from there, if somebody gives you a project to build in Rails, you will know, hey, I need to build a model. You just need to understand the steps that you need to follow. But you don't have to stay 5 months to know exactly, because especially Rails, it's a very huge language and you will never learn it.
Yeah, I think it's important, like if all you're doing is just copy pasting stuff without understanding, you're not learning, right? You're just copy pasting. But that doesn't mean you need to understand every single detail, right? You need to understand the logic. And I always look at this, like with algorithms and data structures, like it's like an onion, right? And you peel the onion layer by layer. And first you understand something, but you don't try to go to the center. You get a rough understanding, and then you do it again, or you do another project where you apply the same concepts, and now you peel another layer and you understand it a little better. But you don't try to get to the center all at once, because then you're not going to get enough scope of learning to really be able to get a job. So finding that balance is tricky, and that's why we design the scope of the projects, the feedback mechanisms through the code reviews, and the caption projects to help you determine, have you learned enough, right? And if you are just copy pasting, you're not going to be able to pass it. But also, we will help you determine, well, you might feel like you don't know everything you need to know, but if you can pass this project, it means that you know enough. Trust us for now, because this means you can get a job. And in the job, you can go deeper into the onion, right? So,
for example, in my job, from the first project, I was using Gatsby. I never used Gatsby. So most of the time you will use languages and frameworks you never used. And Microverse helped me a lot because I learned how to read documentation, how to learn things very fast. And this helps a lot.
perfect. And there's a last question here, which is, well, a couple of questions very quickly. Is the course full-time? Can those work the working enroll to Microverse? The program today is full-time, and it's impossible to do it while you are in a job. So we know that that's hard for most people. We will eventually launch a part-time program, but we don't have a date for that yet. And then the last question is, where can I read more about Microverse 2.0? We will be publishing an article in our blog probably next week, so keep an eye there. And also, if you apply to the program, we have a lot of information in the admissions process about the differences, and how to get ready. But everything you will find in the website now, in the homepage and in the FAQs, should be about Microverse 2.0 and not about the previous version. But the article we're going to be publishing will give you more details about the differences. Okay, so just to finish, Christian, any piece of advice that you want to share with last piece of advice? You have shared a lot of them, by the way.
One thing I noticed with my colleagues and people at Microverse in general, you need to understand that Microverse could be one chance in a lifetime for you. Because even in my case, if the COVID would not start, I will never be a developer. So I took it like, if I don't do it now, I will never be a developer. And this is the reason why I finished the main module in 5 months, and I got a job after 6 months and 1 week. I was just putting passion in everything I had, thinking that this will not occur again. Because now maybe your family supports you. You are 20 something years old, but in 2-3 years, you will need to get a job. You will need to support your family, your wife. You will never have these 6-8 months just to learn and become a developer. So I'm talking about the people who are already enrolled in Microverse, or if you have the opportunity to get enrolled.
Yeah, so
if
I
you
guess
start the course, don't, because sometimes you feel like this is a school and I can hide from the teacher. Like today, I don't feel like working. The teacher doesn't know what I'm doing, but you are doing it to yourself, and you need to understand this.
Absolutely. And I guess the summary is like carpe diem, right? Like you only live once, and if you have an opportunity today, take advantage of that. Like you don't know if you're gonna have it again.
And I think this is the best thing that Microverse does. It doesn't take you any money. It offers you all the tools, the module. You just have to go in this straight line and you will be a developer.
Yeah.
So all the pressure is on us. It's not on Ariel or on his colleagues.
Yeah.
This is what they do. They put the pressure on yourself to get yourself better and to get your dream job. So it's a very good plan.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Christian. I'll share your LinkedIn profile if that's okay with you in the chat. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, ask any question to Christian, you can do it through that link. And Christian, thank you so much for being here today, for sharing your story with everyone else in the community. And it's been a pleasure to hear about your life journey so far. And I look forward to what you're going to be doing next. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Perfect. It was a pleasure to be here as well.
Take care, and same for everyone else. Take care, and keep coding every day if you can.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.